We learned Friday Cameron Brooks, local advocate and candidate for city council, has died.
The Brooks campaign says he was receiving treatment for his recent diagnosis of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. He developed advanced sepsis after his first round of treatment.
Mayor India Kincannon says Brooks was a caring person who dedicated his energies to making his community better. Tennessee Supreme Court Justice Sharon Lee says he was exceptionally kind and compassionate. He genuinely cared about his community.
The Brooks campaign says if you would like to honor Cameron, they invite you to make a donation to the Young Williams Animal Center.
And Robin, another busy week in Tennessee politics. We'll get to the tense ending of the special session at the state capitol, but we begin our show with Knoxville primary races.
And remember, the top two candidates are advancing to the general election in November, except in the judges or mayoral race, where if a candidate got more than 50% of the vote, they won outright.
And that's what happened in the mayor race. India Kincannon won outright. She keeps her seat with 58% of the vote.
Now for at-large seat B, that is the seat being vacated by Janet Testerman. Debbie Helsley beat Bentley Marlowe with 70% of the vote. They will both be on the ballot again in November for the general election.
And for at-large seat A, Lynn Fugit and Cameron Brooks finished in the top two. After the news of Brooks's passing, the Election Commission says Lynn Fugit will be the only candidate on the ballot in November.
Now for seat C, Amelia Parker, the incumbent, and developer Tim Hill won the primaries. They will advance on.
And finally, for the municipal judge seat, the incumbent Judge John Rawson and Tyler Cavanis will advance to the general. Again, the headline, Mayor India Kincannon wins outright. She keeps her seat. Debbie Helsley, the other big winner, at-large seat B for the Knoxville City Council. And we want to introduce you to our panel. Don Bosch is a Democrat. He owns a law firm here in Knoxville.
Good morning. What a delight to be with you guys for a change.
It's good to be with you, gentlemen.
Again.
And then Eddie Smith is a Republican. He's a former state representative.
Good morning. Thank you for having me again.
It's so good to have both of you, and we're happy to be here as well. But gentlemen, I have to start out by saying, what are the headlines then from the primary that has just passed?
Well, the sad headline would be the lack of voters.
Yeah.
A very small percentage of the Knoxville city population decided, who our mayor was going to be. And I think if everybody had voted in the city, the outcome would have been similar. But still, I get frustrated. I'm sure Eddie got frustrated when he was in the legislature. When you hear people complain, but they don't go vote. And so but the other takeaway is the interesting 4 city council seats. 3 of those seats might flip and might be different come the general election in November. I think one's a little safer than the other. We'll talk about that later. But I think it's going to be a different race, maybe with fewer voters, but a different race come November.
And, you know, I agree with Don. When you look at it, there's a little over 100,000 voters inside the city of Knoxville, not Knox County, and there was a lot of confusion serving on the Election Commission, a lot of people in the county trying to figure out how to vote. But it's important that those 100,000 people who live in the city go and vote. Nothing will change. Your voice is not being heard by staying home on Election Day. So please, take the time. There's 14 days of early voting, and polls are open for 12 hours on Election Day. Just go vote.
Yeah, 102,000 to be precise, and a few more, and 16,000 voted.
Don, let's talk about those city council races.
Yes.
Which ones do you think will flip?
So just looking at it, well, first of all, Debbie Helsley is probably safe. Okay, at 70%, I don't think that race, Marlowe is going to get a significant. There wasn't a third candidate in there that maybe Marlowe could siphon votes on. But when you look over and you look at, forgive me while I'm thumbing through my notes, when you look, I know at the Amelia Parker and Tim Hill race, I have to think that that's the race that Amelia Parker might be okay in, because I'm not sure that the votes of the third place candidate, many of those people will turn around and vote Hill.
And even though the elections are quote unquote nonpartisan, when you really just look at it at its core, you can clearly identify who are the Democrats and who are the Republicans in the race. And it really boils down to which machine behind those candidates can actually turn out the voters. And to Don's point, I think unless just somebody gets there, all of the people in gear, I really think that the Democrats have an edge going into this general election.